Now entering Nerdist.com.
Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
Go.
Oh my God, I feel awful.
You feel awful?
It's so early.
It is early. It is.
And you woke up earlier than I did.
I know. I was doing Governors out of Long Island.
Yeah, which is how far from here? An hour and a half?
Well, no, it was only, it's Sunday morning. Everyone's at church, Laurie.
in New York City, yeah, they are.
And especially in Harlem. And I was at Governors for the weekend, 3 shows.
Uh-huh.
And last night's second show, I was finally learning how to do the room because I had never done it before.
Yeah.
And it's over. It's over. It's time to go to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania and try to learn a new room. And
I'll never forget. I only remember Governors as the room that heckled Jerry Seinfeld and comedian after he was Jerry
That's
Seinfeld.
funny because, as I travel around the country, I get Laurie stories from 95.
It's always the same story. She went into the condo. She never came out.
Right. Some people might think, is that party Laurie? You're like, no, it isn't. It's also super earnest Laurie. Did you have a dog named Pinky?
Yes. Pinky.
Pinky was a pit bull?
Yes.
This guy was talking about how he had to, one of the other comics was so scared of Pinky that you sat in the hallway with Pinky.
Did I bring Pinky to gig?
Governors? Yeah.
I brought Pinky to Governors?
Yeah, and there was no heat in the green room, but you were headlining, and one of the other comics who was an old guy wouldn't let you have the dog, and the club owner
By
was
the way,
like,
rightly so. Why was I bringing my dog to the Governors?
I don't know. You're the headliner, though, so you should have been able. That's what his opinion was.
Oh, okay.
John was like, she gets to have the dog. It's her room. She gets to do it. And finally, I had to tell him to leave. And it was the greatest excuse for me never to book that guy again. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And
I do not remember this.
Right.
I don't remember bringing
he
my
said
dog
you were
to the
polite.
comedy club.
You clearly did not believe that it was okay for you to bring the dog because you were sitting in the hallway, which was very cold.
Okay.
And everyone else was sitting in the green room.
This partially is coming back to me.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did I do that?
You must not have had anywhere to put the dog.
The place I lived.
Right. I don't know. Well, maybe
my apartment.
Maybe you needed the dog. Maybe you were a groundbreaker in the world of therapy dogs.
Oh my God!
And you're like, I need Pinky to be with me.
And it worked because I've never needed one since. What a great dog Pinky was. She went with Gennady when we broke up, and he had her up until a couple years ago. She had cancer, and one of her front legs was amputated, and he said she just went with it and woke up and learned how to walk 3-legged and he lives in Coney Island, I think.
Yeah.
So he was taking her out to the beach every day and stuff.
Oh,
And
okay.
she's loving life.
Yeah.
I'm like, you did a better job than I could have.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's nice for dogs.
Yeah.
Beaches are nice for
Oh,
dogs.
yeah.
Who doesn't love that? My boobs hurt like crazy, and I'm like, oh, I must have cancer. I'm clearly dying because, first of all, I continue to menstruate. Nobody wants this.
That's crazy.
It really is fucking crazy.
Are you on a cycle, just a regular cycle, or is it just...
it skipped one a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And then, but it's back. And I'm like, there's nothing in me that would sustain life if I were to get pregnant. So,
it's useless.
it's useless menstruation. But my boobs hurt like at my period, but also slightly worse than that.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, I'm clearly dying. And then I WebMD'd it.
Yeah.
And they said, once you turn 50, sometimes your boobs hurt. And I was like, oh, good. Not that I won't go to a doctor when I get off the road. I'm going to go to a doctor and say, is there anything you can do about it? Because I would like to not have shooting pains in my breasts.
Oh, God.
It sounds horrible, right?
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, I just have a migraine. Or I don't know if it's a migraine. I
you've
woke
had a
up with a headache. I never have headaches. But the lack of sleep and the... Oh, by the way, I flew Mint on JetBlue.
That's right. A little flat.
Oh, my God.
Will you ever fly not Mint on JetBlue
I'll
again?
never not be resentful on JetBlue again as I walk by the Minters. Oh, my God. It was so comfortable, and they said, "Is this your first Mint experience?" And I said, "Yes." And I had like 2 dedicated flight attendants.
I flew Delta Comfort, and there was a Delta One cabin because they've added Delta One because too many people were Diamond, and so they've added Delta One so that they can separate out the riffraff again. And so I was in Delta Comfort.
Comfort is lay down?
No.
Okay.
It's just 3 more
Comfy.
inches of leg room or some damn
Oh,
thing.
okay.
And a free banana. And
Well,
I'll take it.
sure.
And it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. And then I got to JFK, and I drove from JFK to Long Island to Governor's, and it was an hour and a half. It was so long.
That's awful.
I was like, and
You should be halfway out there because you're landing at JFK.
right, it was only 17 miles or something like that.
Oh,
And I was
God.
like, and so literally
Friday afternoon, though, right?
Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is the highway in Long Island, I swear to God, it was built by the mob. Because they were like, all right, someone's going to try to follow you. We're going to build this highway so that we can lose them.
It's funny. Did you do that?
Yeah, I did try
That's
it.
really funny.
It worked once out of the 3 shows. First show last night, a woman came up to me after the show, because this room is super road.
Yes.
First of all, it's got the good dank. It's
Yeah.
got a nice low ceiling.
Yeah.
The people are normal. It's a little too well lit for me.
Okay. So you
Todd
can see the
Glass couldn't
audience?
stand it. He would not stand for it.
You
And
walked out.
I went and got my own gels. No, it was it was a little too well lit. I could
Yeah.
see everybody. I could see this couple last night's second show making out furiously, talking, and I was like, you guys either
No.
got to go out to the bar or silently fornicate because I can't take it.
Kisses at a comedy club.
It's just drunk
gross.
people in a corner
Yeah.
at 9:30 at night in Long Island. And so first show, though, after the show, this woman comes up to me and she goes, "So you're Raunchier. Other shows, right?" And I was like, "What? No, this is the whole thing, lady. I have 5 dick jokes, and I swore like a sailor for you people. Is that not enough?" And she was like, "No, it was really funny." And I got 2 things that I used to get on the road all the time that I haven't gotten in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because all 3 shows, people came up to me and they're like, "You're so smart, man. You're so smart. Just a little, maybe too smart for the room." And I was like, "Stop talking. Stop talking." Yeah.
I hate that. Is a road thing to say. You
That
never
is-
hear that in Manhattan.
You don't hear it in Manhattan. You don't hear it at like the greatest, like sort
At
of
the upscale clubs.
curated clubs in the world. I mean, like DePaulo's coming in 3 weeks. It's not like these people are not going to be shouted at. It's
I would love to see Nick DiPaolo Governors.
well, I think they will too. And then I had too much merch. I've officially decided
Starch
merch. Yeah.
Oh,
I have
you
2.
got a selection.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
It's too much. It looks absurd. Tonight in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, I'm going down to 2 T-shirts and just the 1 CD.
How many? What were
I
you
have
at?
4 T-shirts. I have the 2 Dork Forest T-shirts, which
Yeah.
are not necessary, especially if I have
Especially on a
2
road gig,
stand-up.
right?
Yeah, and if I have, I mean, people like a black shirt.
Yeah.
That's why I usually used to sell it.
Yeah.
But now that I have the new Meat Shield shirt,
Yeah.
it looks completely absurd. It
Yeah.
looks completely ridiculous. Anyway.
Did you sell a lot of merch? Is it
No,
a good
no.
merch room?
I am. It might be, but it wasn't for me. Merch is an inscrutable. Like you can never tell. Like
Right.
sometimes you kill and you don't sell anything. You eat it and you sell everything. You do in the middle, you sell everything. You do in the middle, you sell nothing.
Right. When I was at Cobb's a couple weeks ago, and the room was sold out, so $350, and I
Yeah.
sold 10 books. I was like, I thought I'd sell more than that with it.
Doesn't Cobb's seat $450?
Yeah, whatever it was. I was like, this is a little disappointing.
Right.
But,
How have your sets been going in here?
I just did. I
Check my
had
notes.
4 last night, but the last show canceled, so I just did 3.
Oh, nice.
And it
3?
was
Plenty?
yeah, it was at stand up, and it was fun. It
Yeah.
was nice. The third set was the crowd was a little young, and the second set was good. And I keep tinkering. Oh, I found it. I got a call back in that YouTube story now.
Oh, good.
To a different joke.
Oh, there you go.
Fucking it's like a free laugh. I'm working so hard for these other laughs. Can I have one fucking free one, please?
Exactly.
Thank you. Jesus.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
But so it's coming around. Yeah. Every
Yeah.
time I'm on stage, I'm like, I'm doing a joke or I'm working on this thing and I see, that's another entry point if I had a line right there. So I almost need to draw the joke out like a tree and just see which branches don't end in a laugh.
Oh my God. I'm working on this this flirting bit that is actually it did really well last night because there's just a half a dozen Goombas sitting in the audience, and I start talking about sexual harassment, and they're like, what's this lady gonna? And it's a class. It also reminds me of like early road, where I tried to talk about anything, and if you tried to talk about anything, there'd usually be just some fist of a dude, just some guy who just did
fist of a dude,
just did like work sit-ups and you benching, and it was, and so there's, I think there's something there. It was funny though because the other thing because John, the guy who books it and owned one of the owners, he emceed for the weekend, which was nice. Yeah, and
does he always do that?
I don't think so. And he's been doing it since the 70s.
He knows everybody.
Yes. And still writing. It was one of the most encouraging. Like, he was funny.
That's cool.
I was psyched.
That's a very rare thing that someone that's been around that long and knows that many people and has that many stories is still alive and working.
Right, alive and working.
Yeah.
When we sat around, we just shooting the breeze because he saw me. I met him very briefly and his wife at Carnegie Hall when I opened for Regan.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, do you remember my set? And I was like, you weren't in the show watching. And he goes, yes, we had tickets.
And he's still a comedy fan. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that he's a comedy fan. And then and we talked about how dumb how cool Carnegie Hall is, but how dumb it is for stand up.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out, like when you work a new club, you're like, when do I say this was really fun? Can I get new work? Can I come back?
Right.
Yes. You never know the timing of going.
Right. Sometimes they leave a check for you. You don't even speak to the booker again. You were like, oh, that was my last conversation when I went up to go to the bathroom. Oh, okay.
Less cool. And and then it was, but there was all these etiquette things because I've heard about that club for so long.
Yeah.
And that it felt just like a weird etiquette thing of me trying to figure out how to put it all. And wait,
did you though?
I said I really like this club, and he has 2 other clubs.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
really?
They have a bunch of clubs on Long Island.
Oh,
and I was like, that's plenty of work right there.
You could be out here for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that sounds. And I think if I learned how to do it, like literally, I go on stage and he said, "There's nothing funnier." He said to me, "There's nothing funnier than you trying to do that Nathaniel Hawthorne joke in front of these people. They think that Walt Whitman is a mall," and I was like, "Not all of them." And he goes, "No, not all of them." And I said, "Yeah, John just said that some of you people think that Walt Whitman is a mall," and they laughed so hard. And there was like a 25-year-old woman in the front row who kind of looked confused, and
God.
I was like, he's a poet. He's from here, like Melville. Come on. I stayed in Melville. That's where the hotel was. And
is it a good hotel?
It was nice. It was one of those conference room hotels.
Okay.
So it was too big.
Yeah.
And you're like, where is my room?
Yeah.
Where is even the elevator?
Why is there a wing in
just
Melville?
Wandering around. So.
Well, we're in my apartment. We're in my bedroom because my roommate's asleep. So.
Right. I
think we're fine because I turned the fan on.
Yeah. I got room tone for Kyle so that he has it with the fan in the background. And
yeah.
So I'm doing the Bethlehem thing tonight.
Right.
And I'm driving to that. And get this, so I did
How
it
far
like
is that from here?
3 hours.
Okay.
And I did it like 6 months ago or so with Maria. And
same room?
Yeah. Featuring. And so they're like, "Oh, we'd love to have her headline." And I was like, well, look forward to that 25 minutes again.
It's a Sunday night gig only?
It's they have like once a month.
Oh, okay.
It's at some sort of gastropub.
Oh, cool.
That has a big, like those riser stages It looks like a giant folding table that folds out, and then there's sometimes there's a curtain behind it.
Okay.
And you fall off it because you think that's a wall.
Oh, right.
Anyway,
right.
so but the
it sounds dangerous.
It was, and so 6 months ago I do it with Maria. 2 days ago I email, and I'm like, hey, I haven't heard where I'm staying. Do you have the hotel info? And Maria and I stayed at what I'm sure they think is and it was actually the nicest bed and breakfast. But I think it's been established that I don't like a bed and breakfast because I don't.
Established in Birmingham.
It was established in Birmingham that I hate. I don't want to carry my luggage.
Stayed with statues
and carousel
it was like that
horses.
Chess game in that whatever the Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, the first Harry Potter movie. That's one of the best scenes.
I fucking love that scene. That was a great scene.
That was one of the that movie actually holds up the best in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, which is too bad because you've only seen the first three.
I might, I read a couple pages and then I fall asleep to him. It's taking forever. I might go straight to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, take a break.
Yeah.
Come back to it. Or listen. You guys could listen to it together because the Jim Dale does voices.
That would be cool.
That'd be.
I don't have to read to him.
Then you don't have to read to him.
We just sit there and watch,
listen together
and look at the book while someone else reads it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
and Jim Dale's voices are awesome. So, I'm staying at a Holiday Inn Express in Bethlehem instead of the. And I was like, guess what? That's good. I'm sure you think you're saving $70, and please do save $70 so that I can have a television in my room. And
True. That's true.
completely insane.
It's all one really wants. Are you cold?
Nope.
Okay.
Are you?
I might turn on the heater a little bit.
Yeah, go for it. And
Never mind.
and then I'm driving back on Monday. And I've got three
Back to here.
back to
you
New
have
York.
spots here.
Yeah, I have spots in New York for 2 or 3 days. And then, but get this: so you are paying $200 to have this rental car to go to Rhode Island.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I just
so
need
that
it
you
for a
could
night
pick,
on
so
a
you could
Wednesday.
pick it up.
Yeah.
I did $100 supposedly
Yeah.
for just till tomorrow
For the
this,
weekend then?
except for that. I can pay an extra $50 and drop it off at any Hertz in Manhattan instead of back at JFK.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
Yeah, but you're not. Are you flying out of JFK?
I'm not going anywhere tomorrow. I'm just dropping the car off tomorrow.
Oh, I see.
So I would have to take a cab from JFK to the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
That's $50.
Yeah, more.
So that's what's happening. I'm totally.
Oh my God.
I'm totally dropped. I don't even know where the
greatest
Hertz is.
news I've ever heard in my life.
It was amazing for me. I was like, is there one right near Times Square? Because I think I'm staying in super loud Times Square. I got a deal at a Hampton Inn.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
like 42nd. There's got to be a Hertz.
See
right
if they
there.
have my glasses, those motherfuckers.
Did you leave?
$400 to get new glasses, and that's with the discount, the health insurance discount.
Well,
They were like $800.
oh my God.
My
Are they the
prescription's
greatest?
a little. We'll have your glasses in an hour, and we're going to need 10 days.
Oh my God.
Because my prescription's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Are those the ones you were wearing?
No,
when
those
you
are my
answered?
backups from like 5 years ago.
Right.
They don't
So,
even,
so you don't
they
bump into
barely
walls
work.
and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
So I read my parts of my book at the stand
Yeah.
on Friday. And it went well, you know.
Oh, good. Pretty okay turnout? And-
It was a good turnout, and people seemed really happy, and the people at Audible were really happy.
Oh, good.
But it's so there. It was funny because you forget. Well, like as a comic, you have skills that probably just authors don't
Oh,
have.
right.
Because I was holding my book, and I would, grab a sentence and then tell it to the audience.
Yeah.
A lot. I didn't want to. And they're like, "I can't believe you looked at the crowd." I'm like,
Oh my God.
"Of course I'm going."
Okay, pay publishers. Yeah,
but
it's not a performance skill. It's a writing skill that they're used to. They're
Yeah. I mean, I look at the crowd just to make sure they're not bored. That's just as a comic, it's, and you're looking to see if things land too.
Yeah.
But they were shocked.
Yeah.
And they were also shocked that if I read something wrong, I would just reread it again. And they're like, other authors, they start stammering, they get all embarrassed. And I'm like, no, you just start
fix
over.
it.
Yeah, it was, you forget comics have skills that other people don't have. And they're always shocked when you can do stuff like that.
Yeah, the
It's
John
weird.
the
Like
John guy was
Comedy
said that,
101.
Right, the John guy said that he got booked on some TV show of a friend.
The John Truesdale. The
John Truesdale, the John guy. You know, the governor's John guy. Truesdale, John Truesdale. He said he got booked on a TV show, and they do it during the day.
Yeah.
And tape it, and then at night they do it in front of a live audience, and then they have the tape for backup, I guess.
Oh.
So they run it like rehearse, tape, and then that night tape in front of a live audience.
Oh, what a nightmare.
So they have like two different versions of it that they can
Right.
go to for looping and whatever. And one of the main actors was sick, and so they said, we're just going to do it once live. And all the other actors were freaked out, and he was like, no, this is better. It's just going to be in front of a live audience. That'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be what it is.
Yeah.
Which is what comics, that's what it is, you know?
Yeah.
It'll be what it is.
I also realized I wrote some words I can't pronounce in real life. Like, so I'm like, is it preternatural or preternatural? And the crowd's correcting me. This crowd of, Wellesley graduates.
Exactly.
Preternatural.
It's preternatural. I don't know. I mean, I remember there was any number. There's so many words that are written especially when you're a kid. Remember, I read there was a dog book I read when I was a kid named by matter of fact, the boy might like it if he likes. Does he like dog books? Yeah. It's the name of the author is Jim Kjelgaard.
Yeah.
With a J, quite
Oh,
Nordic.
is that yeah. Okay.
And but he wrote a book called Big Red, and then it was about show dogs that were Irish setters.
I kind of remember that book.
And one of them was called Outlaw Red.
Okay.
And it was about a dog that ran away. And the dog's name was Sean, Sean.
Yeah.
And
did you?
Yeah.
Scene.
I was like, and I was talking to my stepmother, and I said, this book about Scene is really good. And she goes, and there was a pause. She's cooking, thinking, being a mother, but
Nancy.
hating it. Right, Nancy Cation. And she just looked at me and she goes, Scene? The dog's name is Scene. And I said, yeah, Scene. And she goes, bring me the book. And she goes, all right, going to let you in on something. That's an Irish word, and it means Sean.
Did you ever, the first time you saw Siobhan spelled, wait, what the fuck?
I have no.
None of these
that has
letters
a B and a GHN in it, right, or something? I can't even.
That's Siobhan.
I don't know what that.
Sinead also. Come on.
I know. The Irish are like, no, you wanted us to speak English. Welcome. Welcome to how we phonetically spell things.
Oh my God.
Too funny. Anyway.
So it went okay. It was good, I think,
Yeah, that's great.
And then
And this will come out right before, because it drops in February,
February
right?
13th.
February 13th.
Yeah.
For Valentine's Day. Dead
Valentine's
people
Day.
suck.
That's right. It's an excellent present for your lover.
Exactly. You and your lover can pour over the hilarity that is grief.
And then that night I had, oh my God, that was I finished like around 5. We just went from 4 to 5.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
I
good.
had a set at the standing room, which is the Stan's room on Long Island City.
That's right.
And I was like, if I, coming
do you
back here
get
to Harlem, and I have to pretty much turn right around. So I'm like, I'll just stay out in the city. For some reason, I always think I'm ready to party, like even though I've never partied once in my life, right? I'm like, I'll just hang out. And so I'm just by myself eating meat at the stand. And then I go, well, maybe I'll just go out to Queens early and fucking hang out.
Hang out in
And
Queens.
I get there and I'm like,
There's nothing to
there's
do in
nothing to
Queens.
do. So I go to a diner and order food that I don't eat because I don't, but I just
You're
want to
not that
sit there. I
hungry
just
and
want to
you
be
wanna-
allowed to sit.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I had worn Spanx for the reading and it crumpled my insides. I just felt sick the rest of the night.
Oof.
So I just kept going, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. I felt
gotta
like
take these
Dorothy or something. And so my set wasn't until 9:15. So I do my set, I get on the train, and then I realize I left my phone at the club. So I had to turn around. I was debating. I was like, do I really want a smartphone? Look what it's doing to me. 'Cause I just was halfway home. I just didn't want to go back.
Oh my God. You're
did,
like, I
but
have to go back.
I just felt
Would
so
you-
awful.
did you
I
end up
just wanted
taking
to be in loose pajamas.
Oh, was that a series of tweets of
Yes,
why am I not
was
in my
in
pajamas?
agony. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That tweet, and then 4 hours later, I was in my pajamas.
Oh, my God.
I mean, It was a long night.
Here's the great thing about Governors. Those shows, early. So it was like, I think on Friday it was an 8 o'clock show on Friday, but only one.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, 7 and 9:30.
That's like Roosters.
It was
exactly
awesome.
like Roosters.
I was like, yeah. And
That's great.
The John guy was telling me, John Truesdale was telling me that they had it later, but the 9:30 is now the cool show.
Oh.
Because and it's never too drunk.
Yeah.
And it's a lot younger.
Yeah.
And it just, people are like, yeah, let's go to a 9:30 show. We can go party afterwards. And so they were all.
I'm on board for that. You know that.
I know
Invite me
that.
to the
When
party.
when I think about Kilmartin, I think, when will the party stop? It is amazing listening to the stories about you as I travel. They're like, oh yeah, I knew her in '92. You know, she was really conservative. I was like, what?
I wasn't really conservative. I think I was. I don't know what. I think I was just
I
trying
think
to
you
be
were
an
from
irritant.
Walnut. I think you were from Walnut Creek.
But it was in such a liberal
were you?
city, San Francisco,
Yeah.
that I think I was just being irritating on purpose.
You were being a button person.
Yes,
button
I was being
pusher?
childish.
Oh well, it's the time for childhood. Is to
In your early 20s.
yes.
Yeah.
It's what did I was listening, it wasn't this weekend, last week I was just watching various comics, of course. Up and down,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh, did you have the same openers every night?
no, well, John emceed both nights, but different openers.
Okay.
Both from Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
One guy lives in Brooklyn though.
Okay.
And this guy last night lives in Brooklyn.
I'm going to get a Kleenex. Hold on.
Do it. Live it up.
I'm sniffing too much.
You got loose Cheerios in your room.
I set up a little kitchen in here, so I'm not like
Oh, so you don't have to.
bothering Mia because her room is right next to the kitchen, and I
Oh, so if you're
eat at
clanging
different
around.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have like a little coffee stand in my room, and
Yeah,
that
you
way
do.
I can.
This is
I don't
like a
wake her
nice.
up.
This is interesting because it's set up kind of like the hotel.
I know.
Your room is set up, which is
very much like a hotel.
which is funny because at my house
Yeah.
we have a guest room, and I was like, we need sort of low areas where people can put their luggage. I have it set up kind of like a hotel as well, where I'm like, you have to have a place where you can put your toiletries and then a place where you can put your luggage and
we
open
know
it
how
up.
to set up a guest room.
Yeah, if
I tell ya.
let there be a nice guest room if you're going to have guests. Why would you? And not anyway. And plus,
Yeah.
your linen closet, you have like a nice. There's your towels.
There's my.
Yep, it's quite nice. This is probably great for her.
That
Your
I'm all
roommate?
contained in. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I hardly ever go in the living room.
Yeah.
It's
So-
all her. It's all her stuff.
And then so
We're back. We have an awkward edit.
we have an awkward
Jackie
edit.
kept
Kyle,
talking
did you
about
grab
my
that?
life.
Right. Don't mention her life. She doesn't have a life, you guys. She's an entity unto herself.
I am going to get a TV right above you. So I have.
that'll
I
be
have
nice.
then it's like a complete hotel. Right now it is like a bed and breakfast.
It
But
is
as
nice.
she said, you want
Should
a
I
hotel in your room.
Should I do an episode of Hotel Art here in your room? You have that swirly, I forget what that's called.
A Starry Night?
A Starry Night. It's a
Yeah.
very famous painting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the original. I've been waiting to tell that joke for 13 years. I've had no one in my room.
Oh my God, that's the funniest. I'm so sorry your roommate's asleep because you would have got a belly laugh. I've been waiting to tell that joke because you guys, her print of A Starry Night is clearly three times the size of the original.
But it's also like there's if you get these things on eBay, there's some place in China where they just manufacture paintings, and they I guess they may have actually had real painters painting them at first, like copying them, and I'm
Okay.
sure now they're just reproduced with some sort of oil painting machine.
Okay.
So it looks like the real painting.
It's because it's got brush strokes and stuff.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
nice, nice. It's crooked. I'm going to need to fix it. A little OCD over here. It's tinily
I'm
in the smallest
not
way.
as
It's not
picky as you.
symmetrical. Yes, it's not symmetrical.
Clear.
I also like that you have like a coat hook. I mean, literally, you are not using the outside of your house.
No.
of
I
this
just
room.
use the bathroom. That's it.
It's lovely.
Yeah, I mean, I do store the milk in there after.
Yeah, good
but,
kitchen. So
I was thinking of getting a mini fridge. I'm
A
like,
mini
that's
fridge.
okay. I can
That's
use,
too
I can
much.
use one little piece of the fridge.
yes, I think it'll be fine. But you're going back tonight, right?
Yes, after this, I'm gonna do yoga.
Okay.
And there's a great Bikram yoga up the street.
Okay.
Harlem Bikram, and then get on my plane and head back to
Where are you flying out of?
JFK.
Oh, nice.
I take the JetBlue 5:30 flight. Get
Direct?
back at 8:39 at Burbank. Yeah.
Direct to Burbank?
Yes. It's perfect.
JetBlue.
JetBlue has the red eye out at 9:30 every night, and they have a 5:30 p.m. that leaves and goes back to Burbank. It's perfect, Jackie.
Yeah, maybe I gotta. I can get Delta points if I fly Virgin. I wonder if Virgin has a.
I just flew Virgin.
I wonder if Virgin has a flight to
Are
Burbank.
you sure? Because they were bought by Alaska.
Alaska. I used to be able to get Delta points from Alaska.
Really?
So maybe no longer. But I was looking at like Partner. For some reason, I clicked on the Partner link.
Yeah.
On their website, and Virgin Atlantic came up, and I was like, oh. Andy feels bad that we went to Iceland last year instead of France. And I was like, talk about a quality white people problem here. Very successful. He was like, do you want to go to France this year? And I was like, yeah. Yeah,
you got to.
I've never been to France, so I definitely want to go to France.
Are we back?
We're back.
Poor Kyle.
Poor
I accidentally said my kid's name, and I didn't
You
even
don't need to
notice
know
that
it.
Jackie started writing frantically. Take this out.
Nobody's going to steal her baby name even 11 years later.
I just don't want him to be
No,
associated.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah. And I
With
don't-
you at all.
No, and when you have like fucking Elon Musk trolls or whatever, every
Yeah.
once in a while that'll pop up. I just don't want people finding my kid and
Right,
you know.
and being mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's got enough issues. He doesn't need doesn't need your
He
baggage.
actually doesn't have enough issues. That's the problem.
Exactly. If you could
If I could have
somehow
one issue like
have some-
perfectionism, that would be great. It's
Right.
a little too chill.
little too chill, little too accepting of the love and support all around him.
And a D grade average.
Oh, bummer,
Mom,
dude.
just relax.
Relax, Mom. It's going to be fine. Let's do Comic of the Week.
Yes.
I just worked with her at Women Who Crush.
Okay,
That's
cool.
right, which is the new Wednesday night at Nerd Melt.
Yeah,
Meltdown
that
Comics.
Marcella's thing.
Marcella. And it was Atsuko, Okatsuka. And allow me to massacre her name. But it's
think you
at
got it.
Atsuko Comedy.
Yeah.
Atsuko. Atsuko? Yeah. At Atsuko Comedy. And she was she fucking destroyed. First of all, almost everybody
Yeah.
almost everybody actually destroyed.
Yeah, you better say everyone. The one person who didn't, no one knows who didn't. So they'll be
It
like,
was
"Oh my
me.
god, was that me?"
It was me for not destroying. And the weird thing is all I'll say about that room is that it's so hot that I
Yeah.
could not get a read on
Oh,
my
yeah.
new joke.
Yeah.
Did my gift of the Magi joke, by the way, at Governor's.
Oh, my-
To
oh,
a
man.
lot of staring, and then I just sat on it
You were-
until they got it.
You were given the gift of silence.
I was given the gift of silence.
gift
I was
of
like,
crickets.
I was like the gift of the Dewey Decimal System. If you people could go out and use your library cards, that'd be awesome. Anyway, Herb and Melville is from this fucking town. Anyway, so
But say
Atsuko.
her name, Atsuko.
Atsuko.
Really funny.
Okatsuka.
Is she originally from Japan? I think she is. We were watching.
Right, we were watching a little bit of it, and it looked like she was from Japan, except for that she said her dad was living in Bali, in Indonesia.
You know, they let Japanese people live in Indonesia.
They do, and Bali is a tourist destination.
Yes.
And her father, but she was talking about how she just had such literally, I think her opening line was something about wanting to retire as an old white woman, and I was like, I'm going to love this this performance,
I think it's so amazing when people come here and perform in a different language than their native tongue.
Right, because English is her second
Jesus
language.
Christ.
I got to get her on the Dork Forest
Yeah.
too, because genuinely, it was some immigrant stuff, and it was
Yeah.
some lady stuff.
Yeah.
because she is a lady immigrant.
Yeah.
and then all of it under the umbrella of being a human.
Yeah.
So she also had just stuff about being a person, and it was a delight. So if you guys can find Atsuko,
that's
do
cool.
it. And it's at Atsuko Comedy. That's her Twitter handle.
Awesome.
So, there's so many great comics. It's just amazing.
Yes.
Yes. So
I mean, here I just keep meeting new ones.
right, they're
here.
just breathing down our neck.
Get out. Get off the stage. You're sucking up my oxygen.
Right. I think I was.
No, bitch, you'll have to kill me.
I was talking about the dinosaurs last night in the green room with the John guy, and
Dinosaur comics or
dinosaur comics.
dinosaurs? Oh, okay.
Dinosaur comics. And at one point, I was naming names of who I thought were dinosaurs.
Right.
And he goes, "I don't think of those guys as dinosaurs. I think of those. That's the group younger than me." And I was like, "Oh yeah. Well, there's those dinosaurs." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm right here."
He's a pre-dinosaur.
But he knows he had such great. It was great. He had a picture of Brian Regan as a 19-year-old.
Oh my god!
Above his desk,
love it.
He looked like he looked like a tiny, black-haired, wavy hair. He looked like who?
How old was
Kurt
he
Russell.
when he started stand-up?
Brian Regan?
Yeah, was he 18 or 19?
He had to be 18 or 19 because he looked super young down in Florida.
Wow.
And he was the house MC at something in Fort
Did he go
Lauderdale.
to college?
I don't know.
Well, could you find out those answers for me next time you work with him?
What am I,
need to
Siri?
know if he has a degree.
It's you're like, I need him to not have a degree.
No,
if
I
he
need him to have a degree.
Oh, do you?
Now that I'm trying to make sure my son goes to college, I could see my son going, yeah.
You didn't graduate. Let's do this.
Oh God.
And
That's
you're like,
the only reason I should have graduated. So to nullify that art, but I didn't want kids anyway. So
right. So there you go.
Fuck.
He's all.
God
he's,
damn it.
He's full of a bunch of. You're like, now I've got you that I have to raise, and then also make into a successful person.
I've worked so hard to not be my mother because my mother, or just not have somebody in my. I just had somebody. I felt like her hands were in my back and she was trying to move me.
Oh,
So
right.
I've been always sort of hands off. Like a lot of, I haven't been. You have to do this. You have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's so independent. Already, I'm like, is he going to take any advice from me?
Right.
Because I want him. I was talking to Feldman yesterday. I did Feldman's podcast, and he was saying that I don't. I'm just making sure I'm not saying something I shouldn't be saying.
Right.
Tell me. I don't think so. That if you learn German, you can go to school in Germany for free, basically.
Okay.
And I mean, my son would be eligible to do something like that.
Right.
And I'm like, now all I have to do is get him to learn German and then want to go to school in Germany. But I feel like I'm providing all these opportunities for him that he might have no interest in pursuing, which drives me nuts. I should adopt a foster child who would want this shit. Because
You're like, who feels lucky?
If I adopt a kid, they can be a Luxembourg citizen.
Right. Will you adopt me? It's so that I can be a Luxembourg citizen.
But I mean, that's a gift. And then maybe I'm giving it to someone who doesn't even care about it.
Well, you can't. It's like when you give anybody anything.
I know.
Once you've given something somebody, it's no longer yours. They get to do with it whatever they want, right?
Squander.
So they can squander it. Like if you lend people money, you don't then get to say you don't get to buy meth with that. They get to buy whatever they want with it, and
That's
you
why
have to
I always
let that
buy
go.
the meth
Just
directly.
Exactly. I'm just going to buy you a sandwich instead of hand you this $5, and then you're going to buy booze, and you're like, if I give money to the homeless, do whatever you need to do. I got to let it go. But with children, like I know, like one of my brothers. Has these kids. They all got a bunch of kids. Anyway, so he's got these kids, and he's like, I'm giving them the childhood I wanted. And so, like, if they express any interest in anything, like one of them wanted to play baseball.
Yeah.
And so he hired a retired Milwaukee Brewer pitcher to teach him how to pitch.
Oh my God.
And I was like, you know that they're Cation children. They're and his wife, who's incredibly smart.
Yeah.
They're not athletic.
Oh my God.
They're brainiac hucksters.
Yeah.
They're like we genetically have street smarts, and his wife is a certifiable genius.
Oh my God.
So, why don't you light $200 on fire? But so like that, and then
it only costs $200 to
I have
hire
no
an
idea.
That's
What do I
also
know?
shocking. No, yeah, I agree. I look at my son and I'm like, you have the perfect swimmer body. Why don't you like swimming? You could be an Olympian. But I can. The more I push, the more he pushes back, which is good for him in the long run.
Yeah,
in developing a personality, I think.
Right.
But
and knowing what he wants and what he doesn't want, you're leading more by example than by advice.
What's my example? Stay in?
Well, your example is perseverance.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's not a bad example. I mean, a good example is to know that and he's also seeing what he doesn't want, I think. I'm so sorry.
That's really the gift I'm giving my son.
The real gift you're giving
the
him
life
is
you don't want.
Is the slightly obsessed perfectionist. He's like, why don't we give 85% and then I'll get to be happy.
You're right.
And
maybe.
And so maybe, but I think that I mean, there'll always be, if it's any solace, there'll always be a part of him that'll never feel good enough. Is that something?
That's the Kilmartin that I gave him. But I do, because I was thinking yesterday, I'm like, I'm about to have a book published by a major publisher.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, now a major publisher.
Because it just got bought.
The other publisher got bought.
What is the major publisher?
Crown.
Oh, it's Crown. That is major.
They're pretty big. And I'm like, why am I miserable? Why am I stressed out?
Right.
You know, because I'm worried it's not good, because I'm worried, you know, I miss some things. I'm worried, you know. But I shouldn't people be psyched right now if this is their
life? We are there's absolutely no reason for us to be unhappy in any way, shape, or form.
I'm just like, I just want this fucking book out so I can go back to being normal. You know, instead of like worrying if it's good or not.
Right.
You know? Because the response I've had from people is that they really liked it. So
yes.
I don't know.
So there should be nothing. I spent all of last week completely, like literally, I had lunch with a friend.
Yeah.
Who said she was like, so do you think your career is going in the direction you want? And I was like, I hate you. I'm going to stand up and walk out. And I was like, first of all, I don't have a plan for my goddamn career.
Right.
I wish I had, but I don't. I'm just plugging along like everybody.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going well until you asked me that question. And then I'm worried about all of it, right? Then I'm worried about, do I have, like, am I going to get to work Governors again? Yeah. Guess what? I just worked it. Shut up. Shut up, voice. Mm-hmm. Successfully working this week.
Yeah.
You've already won.
Yeah.
And then I got in my head about something Maria said.
Yeah.
And we're talking on the phone and I was telling her what was happening. And I said, oh, and what about, and I just introduced into the conversation. I was like, hey, this thing happened. Did you mean it like that? And she was like, oh my God, I did not mean it like that. What's happening in your head? And I was like, well, I'm having a committee meeting and the committee says that you don't like me anymore and that we're never going to be friends anymore. And she's like, oh my God, please, never. And she's like, and just talk to me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so hard when you have like these irrational fears, especially with another person.
Yeah.
To say, hey, are you... And not are you mad at me, because that's too broad.
And it's 2 14-year-old girl.
Right. You have to say, this is the thing that's happening. This is the scenario in my brain box.
Yeah.
Do you think that? And if you do, how can we work past it and around it? And can I tell you that that's not true? And so you have to be an adult, and it's super annoying. But I spent, like, my boobs hurt. And so I'm like, I'm dying. And then
right.
Right. I'm eating like for 3 for no reason.
My food has been shitty this week too.
And I'm not exercising, but I want to, but I don't want to, and it's like that.
Yeah.
And then I've been worried about like this travel thing.
Travel fucks with it does beat you down. Like I think I mentioned him last or a couple of podcasts ago, Tim Wilson.
Yeah.
He was such a funny comic, but he traveled so much. I think I bet travel was the thing that caused him to die, you know, because he was like in his late 50s or something, maybe.
Well, it beats. I mean, the thing is,
it beat you. It changes your body clock gets fucked up. You don't get enough sleep. You don't get to take care of yourself. It's
right.
A lot of hard work to just get to the gig. And I got to.
It's harder work than it was.
Yeah,
it's harder work than it was when you were in your 20s and 30s, and it's just the way it goes. And I'm traveling almost the best possible way. I'm mostly flying.
Yeah.
And taking
You're not
cabs.
No longer taking horse.
Right. I'm no longer getting on the gray dog and hoping that they have cable or Wi-Fi. I am a little I haven't booked yet how I'm getting to Boston. I decided to rent this car. So Moon Zappa was like, just fucking rent a car in Long Island.
Yeah.
And so drive to Bethlehem, drive back, drop the car off. And then I'm in
like
New
that
York.
you're getting rental advice from Moon Zappa.
Is first of all amazing.
She's
And-
great.
Yeah. And then, but so on Thursday I have to get to Boston. Luckily,
Yeah.
the show isn't until Friday, so if I don't figure, like, if it takes me all day to get from New York to Boston,
Yeah.
First of all, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Second of all, I have the whole day. So
It's weird. I just realized. Okay, I'm in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I'm at Providence.
Yeah.
And then I booked a flight home out of Boston because I was hoping to get a Boston bookstore reading.
Oh, yeah.
But I haven't gotten one, so I should book it. I should change it to JFK.
oh
right?
yeah,
So I can
or someone who's listening to this, because when's your Providence, Rhode Island gig?
the 16th and 17th of
February.
February.
Okay, so
I would need like a Boston.
look at nice.
Boston or Providence area bookstore before like 5 o'clock. Like, so it'd be like an afternoon reading
Of what day of the week?
of Sunday.
A Sunday.
It's probably not a good timing for anything.
It might be. It might be. But we have listeners in Boston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Anyway, so that got threatening. But just think, yeah, this could work. But yeah, but if you don't, I say still, how would you get from Providence to Boston Airport?
I didn't figure that out. I
Right.
mean, I thought they were because.
Isn't everything right
I
next
didn't
to each
consult a map, but I was like, so many Boston comics work Providence. It must not be that far. And then I looked. I'm like, it's
that
not-
close?
yeah, not that close. Well, I'll figure that out.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Figuring out all this travel and stuff. It does.
Yeah.
It's
slightly wearing.
occupying parts of my brain that need a day off.
Yeah, yeah. Especially, merch. I'm real close to calling it a day on the, and just because I got all these pins made
Yeah.
as well. I'm thinking,
People love the pins, though.
just bring the pins. Just sell the
For free?
pins.
Or
No,
okay.
and just sell the pins, and then it'll be much less luggage. Because I have a
Yes.
duffel bag full of
Dude,
t-shirts and
duffel
bullshit.
bag full of shitty moms.
Oh, yeah.
They're so heavy.
Yeah,
I
because
did-
books.
Awful.
Yeah.
But I did get. They gave me some Dead People Suck bottle openers. Would you like one?
No.
Oh my God!
But
what an awful person you are. You come to my home and I offer you a gift.
a free bottle opener. Let me tell you something about bottles.
Oh, that's
First of
right.
all,
You're
they're-
sober.
I'm sober, and everything I drink is a twist off because I'm classy like that. And if you had a corkscrew, bottle opener. That's very. I would love to see one.
Okay, I'll show you one after
People,
the podcast.
is it part of the? Is it a keychain one or
Nope. Just it's
No,
a
just it's-
standalone.
it's
keep in your
standalone.
closet, in your drawer, in your
in a
kitchen.
drawer? And
Yeah,
it's just
if you
a
have
nice,
a kitchen, I would keep it on my coffee stand
Right, I have a
here
kitchen
in my room.
It's funny that they gave you bottle openers.
Just a different thing to pass out.
Right.
I think maybe I'll if people buy a book at a gig, I'll say
Give 'em
here's
a-
a free bottle opener until I run out.
That's it. And then done.
Yeah.
And then you won't have to carry those around anymore. Remember the old Mitch Hedberg joke?
What?
When people flyer?
Here you throw
Yeah,
this away.
could you throw this away for me? Could you throw this away for me? Could you throw this away for me? That's such a perfectly constructed joke.
Yep.
Anyway,
How much time have we done?
I know. Let me look. We're at 48.
You got here early.
I did.
You scared the shit out of me.
Well, I got to get some breakfast after
Oh,
this. Thanks
yes.
for the coffee.
I wish I had. I don't really have a lot of. I have
Breakfast?
like blocks of cheese and
No.
an apple.
No,
I was gonna
I'm good.
that apple right there. If you
You
can
gonna
have
eat
it
that?
if you want it.
That's very sweet. It's a red delicious.
It
so I'm
is.
going to have to pass on that. I know it's your finger. You're like, good. That's my favorite.
That's why I
kind.
offered it to you. I look like a generous host, but I knew you'd turn it down.
You knew I wanted no part of a red delicious apple. It's this neighborhood probably has a diner, and I'm going to go to it.
There is a great place
There
called
you go.
Il Cafe Latte.
It'll have a cafe latte then.
Yes.
And that'll be a delight.
Um,
It's probably terrible Sunday brunch traffic.
It is,
But-
and service is slow. But the
Well, so it
food
has
is-
everything going for it.
The food is great.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
I would like to go to Barney Greengrass, but I would have to drive down the
Where's
west
that?
side.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
on like
yeah, yeah.
86th and Amsterdam.
where are you parked? Do you have a good spot? I mean, you don't want to give up this parking space if you got one here.
Oh yeah, I know. I was certain that there would be plenty of parking, but I had to circle the block twice.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. Do you ever see Lost in America? Albert Brooks.
No, I actually haven't watched that one.
It's there's two different kinds of Albert Brooks movies, right? There's Defending Your Life and Mother.
Yeah.
And then there's Lost in America and that mockumentary thing he did in the 70s that I can't remember the name of.
Right.
And Lost in America is...
I should be more of an Albert Brooks aficionado. I'm a little... Maybe we could have a Albert Brooks screening at my house, and we can invite a bunch of comics over.
I own all of the light
movies.
ones. I own essentially... It's like the difference between... like Lost in America and Defending Your Life is essentially, I've heard it described as the difference between Friends and Seinfeld. Because Friends is just lighter and easier and just more fun.
Right.
Seinfeld is dark and full of assholes.
Yeah.
And Lost in America is full of assholes, but it is very funny.
Yeah.
It's about how him and his wife, they're like... fucking tool bags and they decide to retire when they're 40. They buy a giant RV and go around the country and they go to Vegas and she loses the nest egg. Spoiler alert from a movie from 35 years ago. And but the last scene is a parking joke. A New York City parking joke because he's got this giant RV and they decide he's going to get his job back on Wall Street and sell his soul back to the man, and it would be a really great reference if you had seen the movie. But here, guess what? We're now a minute closer to the end of this show, and I've told that story. Good for me.
Good for you. Do you like my view?
I do.
Isn't
You love
awesome?
your view.
People walking up and down 145th. And
Your birds are loud.
I know. I'm looking over a pool. This is heaven.
Oh, is there a pool?
That's a pool. See that big?
Oh, that
blue
is a
empty.
big
it's
empty
empty
blue thing?
now, but in the summertime it's packed. But then the trees are full of leaves, so I can barely see the pool.
Does that pool have a couple of lap lanes?
No,
That's
it's
too
just
bad.
more to look at. There is at the end of 145th. There's David Dinkins made this park called Riverbank Park,
Okay.
and they have they have a skating rink and they have a 50-meter pool. It's
Indoor?
It's pretty sweet.
So all season. So that's great.
Yeah, I mean the lap swim hours are 7 in the morning, which is and 8 at night.
That is
it's all like I have to be not working to
Right.
lap swim here, but
Right.
oh well.
It's what time did you get home last night?
Because the second show was canceled. I got in around 12:20. Oh, you know what? There's a new rideshare service called Juno. Have you heard of it?
Oh, that's all
Two
women.
of my Lyft drivers here in New York have told me to download Juno because they said we get to keep more money and it costs you less because Juno just takes a smaller percentage. I guess Uber might take 50 and he said Lyft takes 40 and Juno takes 10. So they make
weird.
more money on Juno and we pay less money.
Is this the one where all the drivers are women?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm. No.
Because there was something it was essentially an app for women by women, so that you didn't have to have the same conversation with some banana head. And he was like, "So you married?"
They never talk.
The
anymore.
Lyft drivers?
Yeah.
do? Oh,
Not that much.
that's cool. It's
Not the
much
ones
better.
in New York. Maybe in LA they do.
Well, the cab drivers are the ones who. Have you ever read Mary Jo Peel's book, Employee of the Month?
No,
She did for a year. She decided to say yes to every guy that asked her out.
Oh my God.
She went out with like 3 cab drivers. She was living in New York. When she moved to New York, she was like, "It's going to be the year I just say yes."
No,
And go out with every guy that said, "You guys got to get it because it's so freaking funny."
Did
Employee
she
of the Month.
marry one of them at all?
She married a different guy.
Oh my God.
She-
One of the guys that asked her out?
No, but it was the year of yes that she met him.
Oh my God.
Because the year of he lived. I think this is how it went. I can't remember exactly, but he lived in Texas.
Yeah.
And she lived in New York, and she said, "It's the year of yes, but I am not doing long distance. If you want to date me, you have to come to me."
Oh.
And so he came, and they dated. Every 4 to 6 weeks, he would fly out,
Yeah.
and they would go on a date. And over the course of a year and a half, they fell in love,
Oh my God.
and now they are married.
Wow.
Yeah. So the year of yes. It ends happily. Boo. It's but one of them. Mary Jo Pehl she's probably my size, right? And she gets guff from people about her size sometimes. And she went out with this one guy, and one of the stories is about how he ordered just her a pizza, and then he got himself a salad. And she was like, "Well, this date is done early. We're done now."
That reminds me of, just because you're talking about size, that this is the thing that reminded me.
Mm-hmm.
But this woman, she's a comedy writer, and I guess she wrote, I kind of remember reading this. She wrote an open letter to Yelp. She was working at Yelp.
Okay.
Making like minimum wage, like 12 something an hour.
Yeah.
Something like that in San Francisco.
Oh God.
And going into debt because it barely covered her rent, and then she had no,
Yeah.
money left for anything else.
Right.
So she got fired and stuff. And then Michelle Malkin wrote an article about how millennials are whiny, because she was a white millennial.
Right.
And then Ben Sass, who wrote this article, wrote a book about how, our kids are too soft, used hers.
Oh man, they just piled on her.
Oh, yeah. And she was getting, because she was a little bigger, like, oh, you don't look like you're hungry, that kind of
Oh
stuff.
fuck you.
So Post just did another article about how it kind of, that open letter, even though it helped raise the
Awareness.
raise the wages of people working at Yelp,
Yeah.
in the end, because they were kind of shamed into it,
Yeah.
she got fired and she got trashed, and she
Yeah.
was having a hard time even getting minimum wage jobs.
Right. So now it's an avalanche of guff, and because her name is attached to all this shit.
Yeah. Like, I guess she was interviewing at Starbucks, and then at the end of the interview, the guy said, "Were you terminated from Yelp?" And she explained why, and then boom, the interview ends. Like, to not even be able to get a job at Starbucks
That's insane.
is insane.
Well, they're afraid of their corporate. Yeah, but so essentially these big corporations are like, "Oh, you're going to shame us into." So she took a bullet for the rest of the world, right?
But it's all, besides that, it's all this extra body shaming.
Oh, yeah. And I mean it's just it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Did you read that thing? There was a good a guy from San Francisco who owns a game store named Games of Berkeley. His name's Bigglestone, and I know Eric Bigglestone, right? Branwen Bigglestone is his sister, and she did an episode of The Dork Forest. She works at Image Comics. Anyway, they're a couple of awesome nerds, right? Is what I'm saying. And Eric had a friend who wrote this thing, an open letter to dudes from a dude, and I reposted it. The guy didn't want he for some reason didn't need the attention. I was like, what's happening? And so I reposted what he wrote, and it was just this sort of sane, how men are, they're all super nervous about what women are saying about them when they're not around. And he goes, guess what? That's what we talk about women all the time.
Do you know how many times have you walked into a room of men, like after you left for a second,
Yeah.
and you feel like they were commenting on your body, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. And you walk in and they just shut up. Yeah.
Right. And there's like the air is still like, ooh, you should hear what they were saying about you.
Exactly. And he goes, welcome. He's just like, this is exactly what they're living through. And they're not there to defend themselves. Well, you made that comment about the waitress. Well, you made that comment about, the new friend in the group. And it was just, it was good. I mean, there's no medal for not being a dick, but it was a nice comment. What else you got? You got sets this week in LA?
Yes.
This is 2 weeks from now, but
When's this coming out?
who knows? Hopefully not tomorrow.
Well, the first weekend in February, the 8th and 9th, or 9th and 10th, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I'm at Flappers in Burbank.
Oh, the Burbank Floppers. Oh, that's awesome. I'm at Acme in Minneapolis. So that's my home club. Get to do that once a year. Super fun. And work on the new stuff. And then I'm going on that JoCo cruise, nerd cruise, for a week to Mexico. Yeah, whatever. It should be really fun. It's such a...
Is it like being
No, it's neither of the things I feared about. Yeah, that's you can get away from because it's a nerd cruise. Everyone is aware of social anxiety, so they don't need to. They're like, oh, you don't have to lie, right? You don't have to lie. You could just go, hey, I just need to be alone right now, and they fuck off. It's awesome, right? And the other thing I feared, because that was my biggest fear, and then the other thing I feared was the buffet business, because I tend to overeat if there's food in front of me, and it's not that bad. It's because buffets by definition offend me, because I don't want to serve myself. Why don't I just cook then? And steam table food is what I call it, and I don't like steamed. It's not my downfall, steam table food. So the nighttime you sit and it's a table service, and there was a guy that we sat with a couple of nights. Really a nice guy, but he was like, "No, I always get 2 dinners," and the guy just gets 2 dinners because he wants to try both things, and he's like. And I was like, it feels Hunger Games-y to me, but do it, man. Right, but you're in a floating buffet, so God knows. You ever work a casino week and they give you free tabs to the buffet, and so at the beginning of the week you see the prime rib, and as it goes it gets turned into things like beef stroganoff and then eventually like some sort of taco meat. Anyway, it's that was that Catch a Rising Star in Reno. Do you ever do that?
Yes. Yeah, I did that. In fact, I was stuck there. That was the one on the hill, right?
Silver.
Oh no, I did the Reno Hilton.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Which was like in the early 90s or something.
Oh, wow.
And I think it was with John Fox that I think I've told the story.
I don't.
The headliner John Fox?
There's yes. I don't know him, but I know the 2 John Foxes. And
yeah. And we couldn't leave the casino.
Because you were trapped there because of a flood?
Yeah, Reno was flooded. It was at the time a 100-year flood, but now because of global warming, it would be like the 5-year flood.
Oh, jeez. Well, I was trapped at the Westward Ho in Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Being booked there with no weather conditions.
And you are. That they used to have a 6-month gig. It was a year, but it was a 6-month gig where you could be the MC and you would live there. And if you wanted extra money, you could work in the mess hall or whatever. It was in the pool. I tried to get the gig. They never booked a woman, and every guy who came back from that gig had a drinking problem and were great comics. It was Isaac Whitty, Chad Daniels, and Sean, I forget his name.
And there's a guy named Shannon.
Shannon. Yeah, it wasn't Sean, it was Shannon, and I haven't seen Shannon in so long I've forgotten his last name. Anyway, guess what we're at?
An hour.
We are at an hour.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.